What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I did a live stream yesterday where we talked about the '03 Volkswagen Jetta selling, and I don't know what the deal was, but that live stream was having some issues with uploading and processing, and I ended up just having to delete it. So instead of the live stream from yesterday, for those of you, and there weren't many of you, but for those of you that saw the live stream about the Volkswagen Jetta selling, you probably want to skip this video because I'm going to try to make it fairly short and to the point. So the Volkswagen Jetta sold, and it literally sold the day after I took it down to Weirdbeard, down to Mike. And there's a couple things I want to talk about in this video, but I'm going to start with the meat of the story is how much. It sold for $2,500 to the second people that came and looked at it. Yeah, $2,500, which is what I figured it was going to bring. And even Mike was surprised. And I'm not going to lie, I was surprised too that it sold as quick as it did. The second people that looked at it bought it. They snatched it up at $2,500, and we had about $1,800 in it. So that's what, a $700 profit? You can't beat that all day long. So, you know, the old saying, you can't polish a turd, is absolutely incorrect when you're in the automotive industry. When you're flipping cars, you can absolutely polish a turd. And yes, I do understand we basically put lipstick on a pig. But here's the deal. I'm going to break it down very simple like this. If you take two of the same cars, this was actually Mike's analogy, and I agree with him. I agree with Weirdbeard 100%. If you take two of the exact same cars, sit them side by side, make it the Volkswagen Jetta, for example, the '03 Jetta. You sit the exact same car side by side. One of them has mechanical problems, but it has a beautiful paint job. One of them is rough looking, real rough, but it's mechanically sound. You will sell the mechanically compromised, good-looking car before you sell the car that's mechanically sound but doesn't look good. Why? I don't know. It defies logic, in my opinion. That's not how I would buy a car. I would buy a car based on looks play a factor in what I'm going to pay for it, obviously, but more importantly to me are the mechanics. Unless it's a rare vehicle, at which point you probably want it to look better and you can worry about mechanics later. But the way, sorry about that was random. That is the way it goes. You can seriously take an old hoopty, slap some paint on it, and send it down the road. Now that is not what we did with the Volkswagen. I'm just giving you a little bit of information here. We did some work to the Volkswagen. We did our best, and I had a lot of questions. Why didn't I take the extra time to sand and Bondo, fill, or pull the hail dings? I've seen several comments about that. It was such a waste, Randy. You're horrible for not like. Everybody's got an opinion, and opinions are like buttholes. They all stink, and everybody has one. At the end of the day, I run my business the way I choose to, and I spend my time the way I choose to spend it. My time is worth money, and I have to decide on every car what's worth putting my time and energy into, and what is not. Now, on this Volkswagen Jetta, if I had taken the time to sand all of it down and pulled the dents or filled them with Bondo, which would have inevitably cracked and come apart at some point, I would have had hours and hours and hours in labor invested in this car. And if I paid somebody to do it, I would be out many, many hundreds of dollars to get all the hail dings out. Now, would the car have looked better? Yes. Would that be the right way to do it? Yes. The car is still going to sell for $2,500, ladies and gentlemen. There is a cap. All right, there's a cap on what you can sell each car for. And I'm sorry, but that Volkswagen Jetta's cap was $2,500 because even though it looked pretty, the engine still had that vibration issue going on. And we were capped out on what we could spend on it and still make a decent profit. $700 profit is good for me. We took literally like a $600 car and we turned it into a $2,500 car. That's insane. That's a win. All day long in my book, that is a win. Now, $700 profit, we could have done better. I've had better flips. I've also had worse flips. You guys know that. But anyway, yes, we could have done a lot more to the car. We could have fixed the headliner. We could have polished the headlights. We could have. All this stuff equals either money or time or money plus time. And at a $700 profit margin as it was, there was no more room for playing around with that car. It had to go, and it did. I'm happy. You should be happy too. The new owner can do whatever they want. They can play with the dings if they want. They can fix the motor, whatever. New owner bought it. They're happy. I'm happy. It's a win-win, man. That car was the first car I have ever taken to Maaco, and I will be taking many, many more to Maaco after that. It's also important that I tell you that Maaco did not sponsor that in any way, shape, or form. That was paid for out of my own pocket. The guy told, his name was Paul, I believe. He told me for $300 he'd shoot it, but it wouldn't be right, and the paint would flake off, and it wouldn't have a warranty. He said for $180 more, that's total out the door, they would sand it down and do it right, and I'd get a 1-year warranty on that paint. Now, did I tell him I was a YouTuber? That's another big question. Yes, I did. I told him I was a YouTuber, but if Paul sees this video, which I don't think he will, no offense at all intended, I don't think Paul really is really up to speed on the whole YouTube thing. You know what I mean? He's not an old guy, but he's an older guy, and I don't think he really screws around with YouTube, because I was I was trying to talk to him about, you know, I got a YouTube channel. I was hoping maybe we could get some kind of a deal, which that didn't happen. He was talking about this other guy locally that has like 10,000 subscribers. It's like, oh man, he's real popular. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, I have 160,000 subscribers. And he was like, yeah, well, this guy, man, he is just great. He brings a lot of cars in here. And I was just like, okay. I dropped the whole, that was the entire conversation regarding YouTube. It literally started and ended within about 30 seconds. So he really didn't seem all that interested in my YouTube channel. I don't think he really understands the power of social media. And that's fine. Not everybody does. In fact, I kind of think that really helps make this paint job more genuine to you guys, to my audience. The only reason I told them about my YouTube in the first place is I was hoping they might be like, hey, this would be a good opportunity to do a sponsored video and you don't have to pay for it. No, he charged me what he charges everybody else. So that didn't work out for me. I'm not mad. The paint job was great. Now, I will also say I've had a lot of people tell me that different Maaco locations, you will get different quality paint jobs. I've heard some horror stories, and I've seen some horror stories, but I'm telling you, my experience with Maaco thus far, phenomenal. Even Mike, Weird Beard on YouTube, even Mike looked at it. He said, you can't beat that. Like, and I agree with him. You cannot beat a car that looks that good for $480. You just cannot do it. So at this point, I would highly recommend Maaco. Absolutely. And I'll be taking another car down to Maaco, the Mitsubishi Outlander. And that brings me to another portion of this video. A lot of you know that Eastwood and Apollo Sprayers sent me some equipment. They sent me a welder, and they sent me the same spray kit that they sent Sam Crack, the Apollo Maximizer. Now, the Apollo Maximizer, oh, and they sent me all the materials, all the paint supplies to do a single-stage paint job on it. I know a lot of you were excited about it, but I'm going to be honest with you. I follow my analytics very closely. It's basically the numbers of YouTube, the magic behind the curtain, if you will. I follow my analytics very closely to see what works and what doesn't. And honest to God, I really thought that my audience would be more excited and there would be more interactions, more views on me actually getting in there and really, doing some of the work, like on the Dart or cutting the quarter panel off the Z. But the sad truth is, it doesn't matter whether I put in a lot of labor on this channel or I outsource the labor to another company. It seems like my audience is just interested in the picking up the review of a car or truck or whatever, and what we're going to do to it on the channel, and then the sale, the flip, basically. I'm sure a lot of you do enjoy seeing me get my hands dirty, and we're going to continue doing that. I want to assure you we're going to continue working on cars, but at the end of the day, my dad told me a long time ago, son, work smart, not hard. And that's one very good piece of advice that he gave me. So if my YouTube analytics, and basically at the end of the day, the money, let's talk about the money. At the end of the day, if YouTube is going to pay me X amount of dollars for really busting my hump, busting my knuckles, and getting dirty, or they're going to pay me the exact same amount to just buy a car, send it somewhere, then send it somewhere else, and then bring it back and then sell it. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. You guys aren't stupid. Y'all are smart people out there. Would you? I mean, like I said, we are going to continue doing some work on the channel. Absolutely. But I've already talked to Eastwood. I let him know, and everything's cool. Everything's cool with them. We're actually going to be giving that spray system to Mike Weirdbeard. He deserves it, man. He's a hard-working dude, and he really deserves it. So please go subscribe to Mike Weirdbeard on YouTube. Dude does some amazing work, and he's an excellent painter. You saw the Harley truck that he did. So we're going to give this to him. He's going to help me. We are going to paint ourselves. Myself, we're going to paint the bumper on the Dodge Dart with that system, and that's going to make everything good with Eastwood and Apollo. And then we're going to give it to Mike. Mike's going to give a review on it. He's going to talk about what he thinks of the traditional compressor versus this new turbine system. So that should be really interesting, really cool. But that's going to be on Mike's channel. So definitely watch Weirdbeard on YouTube to see him using that maximizer system. Mike's going to help me with prep and showing me what I got to do to paint the bumper on the Dart to make it black again. And we're going to use the system on that. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, the Outlander is going to Maaco. That's just the way it is. Now, aside from that, the direction of the channel has been a lot less work lately. It's been, and I know I've seen the comments and I've been watching my analytics very closely. So I see that you guys want to see more video of stuff getting done, work actually being done to the cars that we're getting. And a lot of cars have just been sitting. I've heard your comments. I've seen your comments. You want to see the cars that we bring in getting finished, getting sold, and moving on to the next one. So that's something we're definitely going to work on. I'm going to try to work a lot harder at not buying so many cars and letting them all just sit. Okay, we're going to try to actually get cars in, get work done, and get them out. Today, I'm probably going to be buying something that I really don't want to buy. It's a $3,500 tool. It's kind of excessive, especially for how little I use it right now. But it is the Autel Maxi Sys Elite. My Dodge Dart needs to go back to the dealer yet again, and it's another $125 because it needs what's called a proxy alignment. This can only be done by the Dodge dealer, or it can only be done if you have a tool capable of doing it. The tool is $3,500, but I'm thinking right now I have already shelled out $300 to the dealer, and now it's going to be another $125. So we're taxes and everything. We're already pushing $500. We still don't have everything done. So I was like, you know what? It is a lot of money. But over time, as we swap out modules or things need to be reprogrammed, flashed, or whatever, you can actually do that. I can go to AC Delco, I can go to Mopar, I think it's Mopar on Demand or something, and you can download the software and actually program these things. You can reflash them, you can relearn, and it's not a sponsored video. Like, this is something I gotta pay for out of my own pocket. So it is what it is. I'm going to try to get that done today, and hopefully we can have that here by Wednesday so I can do that proxy alignment. Maybe I can show you guys what I'm talking about. The proxy alignment will actually align all of the computers in the car. Right now they are all out of whack because some of them did not come from this car. They came from another one. So when you do a proxy alignment, it will actually take all these scattered modules and it will align them so that they're all in order and they're all working together. I want to give a big shout out to, man, I feel bad that I can't remember his name. I think it's Chase or Chris Chase. Yes, it's Chase. Chase, one of my subscribers. He's local down here. Cool guy, definitely awesome. He works at a Dodge dealership. And then, the guy that actually told me about this alignment thing, this proxy alignment, because obviously I did not know about this on my own. I got to give him a shout out. Please don't go anywhere. Give me 1 second. I can't get out of here without giving him a shout out for giving me this information. I believe he said he's a dealer up in Chicago. Dang. Of course I can't find it. Maybe his name is Sean. Hold on. Yes. Sean, thank you, Sean from Facebook. Truly appreciate it. Sorry that took a minute, guys, but I had to give him a shout out because I didn't know about a proxy alignment. The Dodge dealer I went to didn't tell me about a proxy alignment, and I told them what I had done with the car. They should have known. And thanks to Sean, he popped up and said, man, this is what you need. He said he's not going to guarantee it's going to fix the rack and pinion. We may still have to drop the cradle and change it. But he said the proxy alignment needs to be done. So I think that is just about everything. I think you guys are pretty much caught up now. I got to go do this Copart walk around for you guys. And I guess stay tuned. There's definitely more stuff to come. I'm really working on a lot of things. We're probably going to close down the shop. That's probably the last thing I want to mention in this video. It's not for financial reasons. It's the city, the paperwork that I got from the city to do this occupancy thing it's a stack like this thick. It's rough. And there's special licensing and permits, and they need construction drawings, floor plans. Like, I was reading through this and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. I will find another location, but temporarily we're probably going to have to shut the shop down. And I don't want anybody to think I'm upset about it. Truthfully, I'm actually kind of relieved about it. That shop has been a serious pain since I got it. I thought I was going to be able to put cars there and do work, and as it turns out, the city won't let me work there. Basically, it's nothing more than a storage unit that I very rarely even go to anymore. There's spiders, there's snakes, there's crackheads, there's hookers. I can't keep anything there, and I can't work out of it, but I've got a lot of yard that I have to go out there sweating my you-know-what's off and mowing and weed eating on a regular basis. It makes no sense to me. So I'm going to go talk to the city and see if we can work this out. And if we can, great. But if we can't, I'm shutting the shop down. The 15th of next month will be the end of that place. I'll have to do more work out of my home. Stuff will go into storage, and we'll figure it out. But I just want all of you to know that I thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching these videos. Thank you for making this possible. Hard times happen, man. There's speed bumps along the way in life. It's just part of life. I'm rolling right along. I'm like a steamroller, man. I'm going to plow right over it. We're going to get through it. We're going to continue with this channel because I have faith that this channel is going to be great with me doing a little more work and not procrastinating so much. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Seriously, thank you, because since I lost my job, got laid off, this is it. And it's make it or break it. It's sink or swim. Like, we're either going to make it on this channel or I'm going to go bankrupt. I'm not going bankrupt, guys. That ain't happening. I worked too hard to get my credit where it is. Ain't going bankrupt. So stick along for the journey. It should be an interesting ride. I'm going to catch you all very soon in the next one.